The first guru of yoga is not Patanjali. The first guru who gave yoga darshan to us and all the intricacies is none other than Mahadev, Shiva, or Adi Yogi. Adi means the first one. He gave this knowledge to his 7 disciples, the 7 rishi. Popularly we call them the Sapta Rishi. The 7 rishi, the 7 sages were the first ones who received the knowledge of yoga directly from Shiva, and then these 7 disciples in their own way propagated in different places and zones on this earth, and they moved on, and then they practiced and propagated to their disciples. There was nothing which was written. The guru is speaking, meaning the Adi Yogi is speaking, and the rishi are listening, and everything is going deep down into their intellect without any mistake. And for thousands of years, this knowledge was transmitted orally, never written. No. This country had not given birth to fools. This country had the capability and the possibility to give birth to such intellectual giants who had sharp memory. So Guru would speak, disciple would listen, and disciple wouldn't even say, "Come again. What did you say? I have forgotten. Can you repeat again?" Saptarishi, adepts, who had mastered their mind, who had the purest of the mind, who were in great devotion for Shiva, these 7 great sages were given the first knowledge. And just 2500 years ago, Patanjali codified it, meaning the knowledge of yoga which was scattered in different places. We have it in Prashna Upanishad, we have it in Katho Upanishad, we have in all the 4 Vedas at different places and points. We have the talk and the sutras and the information about the yoga. The Bhagavad Gita has it. The various Upanishads, the 108 Upanishads, but it is all scattered. The information is scattered. What did Patanjali do? Now here there is one another very important information which you should understand. Patanjali is not name of a human being. Patanjali is like a title, like an acharya. So there had been many Patanjalis. Like you have so many doctors. The doctor doesn't mean just one person or the one personality. The doctor means the person who holds an MBBS, an MD degree. So Patanjali is like a title given to that sage who has the depth, understanding, and who had practiced the great austerities and who is a scientist of all these matters. It is very much possible that this great gentleman who was addressed as Patanjali, many people think that it was his name. Now this is the biggest confusion which many people don't understand. But doesn't matter. Like when you go to a hospital, you might not know what is the name of your doctor, but you would say, a naive person would say, I need to meet a doctor. Which doctor was that? I don't know, but I need to meet a doctor. Or I need to meet a professor, or I need to meet a teacher. And then somebody points out, well, that gentleman over there with the white coat is a doctor, you can go to that person. Then maybe you will come to know what his name is, and next time maybe you will ask him, the doctor, by his name. Before that he's just a doctor. So Patanjali, 2500 years ago, collected this scattered information about yoga and codified it into 185 aphorisms. And that is why With great love and respect, I bow to the masters who gave us this codified information about yoga that today, after 2,500 years, we can sit, understand, talk, and bring this yoga information, knowledge by learning and then by practicing it. Next. Yoga means to be in a discipline. Discipline is a set of rules given by the master to the disciple. Hence, to be a practicing yoga student is of the utmost importance. It is not about how much you have heard about yoga. It is all about how much you practice, how much you are in a discipline. If you don't follow the discipline, you cannot be called a disciple. So if you say, I wish to become a yoga path seeker, then please don't read about yoga, practice it. You can have 100 books on yoga in your library, show it off to your guests. But you can be called a yogi only then when you practice it. So it is not a theory like, you cannot have to know about how swimming is done by theory, minus a pool. No, you need a pool and you need an instructor and then you go into it and then you practice it. Similarly, to dip into this yoga, one needs a discipline, and those who follow the discipline are called a disciple. Moving on. From whom to learn? There are so many self-proclaimed yoga teachers, but who can teach yoga? You must not have ever wondered about it. Anybody can say, I am a teacher. Again, I'll give example of Swami Buaji. One time I was sitting with him in Manhattan, in his apartment in New York, and a couple walked in. After doing the pranam, they sat, and the Yogiji asked, he said, what do you do? And the person said, I'm a yoga teacher. And this 122 years old yogi said, aha, I am still a student. You are a teacher. What a good fortune, I am meeting a teacher today. He is 122. When he was 118, at that time Guinness World Record people came to him and they put his name into that one book which they had published about the octogenarian, and he is the one of the person in that. At that time he was 118, and when I met him he was 119, and when he left this mortal world and body he was 125. Moving on. Who can teach yoga? No one other than a yogi can really teach yoga. And who is a yogi? As per Patanjali's second sutra, Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the one who has attained the state of Nirbij Samadhi is a yogi. So it is not what dress you wear. It is not what color of tilak you have. It is not how popular you are with your marketing and advertisements. Who is a yogi? Who has attained Nirbij Samadhi. Samadhi means the total emancipation of the mind. Vritti means the turning of the thoughts which is running in your mind. When all the thoughts stop and you are fully conscious. And in this sheer state of full thoughtlessness, this is the stage of dhyana. And when somebody attains the samadhi, there are two types of samadhi. One is bij, another is sabij. The bij means when the samskaras and the impressions of worldly urges are still there, it is sabij. When all these seeds of vasana, desires, mental afflictions, the seeds are burned, that state is called the Nirbij Samadhi. So who is a yogi? Who has attained Nirbij Samadhi. Moving on. As per Rishi Patanjali, the codifiers of yoga, there are 8 limbs of yoga. 8 ladders of yoga. If you please read the screen, we'll begin from number 1, and that is Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. 8 limbs, 8 ladders, 8 steps of yoga. This is what yoga is. So one has to follow these steps meticulously, step by step, in order to become a yogi. Jumping directly to asana or pranayama without appropriate discipline is not the right approach. Now you might wonder, oh, what is this yama? Now you might think, because usually in Hindi language, yama means god of death, right? So you might wonder, wow, what does that mean, yama? Do we have to die to begin with the yoga? That's not the case. Moving on. Yama means restraint. The word yama means restraint. It is the moral code of conduct while interacting with others. So we can say yama is the ethical, moral code. What for? When I have to interact with you, or you have to interact with me, I should have these 5 restraints, rules, or disciplines. First, Satya. Truthfulness in speech, action, thoughts, and to always be on the path of truth. Now, this is the mandatory thing. It's the beginning, it is the preparation. Be truthful. A person who is a thick liar cannot become a yogi. The first moral conduct. Now, whether you are a Sikh or a Buddhist or a Jaina or a Muslim or a Jew, you still need to have this code, right or wrong. Second, ahimsa, non-violence. Non-violence in speech, action and thoughts, non-violence to others as well to one's own self. Meaning, I have to be a non-violent person, meaning when I speak, I don't use harsh words, right? I don't abuse. I don't speak in a bratish language. Somebody was asking me, Gurumaa, I'm going to see a boy. My parents are having this meeting of boy and girl. How would I know he's good or not? I said, well, how can I say? I haven't met any. So how can I have no experience? The only thing is, what I can suggest is that just see how he talks. Just observe how he eats. And just observe how he talks to waiters, drivers, poor people, those who don't have any power. After the meeting, she came back and she said, I have rejected the boy. I said, why? She said, because when we settled down in the restaurant table, he called a waiter by making a sound. She said, for me, he had failed right away. That's not the way to call anybody. Just because he earns lesser money doesn't mean he doesn't deserve your respect. And we, the Indians, have this great fallacy that we only respect people who have rich money and solitaires and diamonds and expensive cars. We are very, oh sir, oh ma'am. If it is a driver, a rickshawala or sabji wala, This is violence of speech. Don't do that. Violence of action, hitting somebody, it's violence. Violent thoughts. Like an employee was saying to me that I really wish to kill my boss. I said, would you really? He said, no, I don't want to end up in a jail. but he has the thought. And I don't know how many wives had this thought one time for the husband. Or the husband had the thought for the wife, God knows. This is the beauty of their relationships. Having a violent thought in a mind, when we wish to hurt somebody, malign somebody, speak bad words about somebody, think bad about somebody, this is violence. Don't do it. Third, asteya, practicing honesty, non-stealing, and not taking that which does not belong to you. Isn't it a beautiful code which should be applicable and should be adopted by every citizen of every country? You don't steal. In Hindi we say, achaurya, chori nahi karta. When you don't steal, see, it is not necessary that you steal an object sometimes. It's a very subtle kind of theft. Like, you read a book somewhere, a nice statement, and then you speak to others that statement without revealing the name of the author, and you behave as if you were speaking. Even that is a stealing. Don't steal. Should not steal. Fourth, aparigraha, not to possess beyond what is needed for the survival, not to hoard things, emotions or feelings. Aparigraha. Parigraha means to hoard, to collect. Then the aparigraha means not to hoard. When you have 100 saris and yet you want to buy 2 more, that is parigraha. You have 100 saris and then you think, well, I don't need more than 15 maybe, and I give it away to others, those who need it, share it with my friends. That will be called aparigraha. It is very easy to earn money, and when you have loads of money, it is so easy to buy here, buy there, buy here. And then these days you don't even have to go out. Open up a site in your mobile phone, buy it, and gets home delivered. So many sites are available. People do their shopping now in the phone and buy the phone and use the credit cards. And then they don't have space left. And yet they are buying and buying and buying. Any person who is a hoarder of material things cannot be a true practitioner of a yoga. Now sometimes it is not the things, sometimes it is the emotions. Very subtle, but please understand. Somebody said bad thing to you 10 years ago. You still remember it in your mind. And you still want to take revenge. He said this to me. How dare he? You were powerless. You were weak. You couldn't fight back. But you have that anger stored inside the mind. Even this is parigraha. If you want to be a yogi, leave it. Meaning, forgive and forget. Don't hold on to emotions. I'll give you an example. A 60-year-old man met me and he pointed out towards a man and he said, Gurumaa, do you see that person? I said, yes. He said, we were together in a school in 3rd standard and he stole my geometry box. I said, really? He said, yes. He's the same guy who took away my geometry box. He's still angry with him. I said, now what do you want to do? I think so you should go to him and confront and tell him, you stole my box. He said, no, it will look so stupid. I said, really? If it looks stupid, if you speak up, doesn't it look stupid that you are keeping it in your mind? Well, I ask you a question. Is your mind a garbage box? You keep all the garbage over there? This person said bad word to me. This person did bad thing to me. I am not going to leave it. So if you hold on to bad emotions, even this is called what? parigraha. And if you wish to become a yogi, then what you have to do is let go. Let go. Don't hold back. The fifth yama, or the code of restraint, is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya at a physical level means celibacy, but its deeper meaning is to be union with the Brahmana. Now, this is something which you need to understand. When we say brahmacharya, it means to be, if you are married, then you are totally loyal to your spouse and you are not looking here and there. And if you have a restraint on your sexual conduct and you practice yoga, you will be still called a yogi. And we have a long chain of the yogis who were very much married, who had children, but yet they were great yogis. So to become a yoga practitioner, you don't need to remain a full-time celibate or not to marry. That is not required at all. Moving on to the next slide. Niyama. Now, niyama is the restraints which you have for yourself. Let me put it once again. Yama is when we deal with others, and niyama is the discipline which I follow for myself, beginning from shaucha. That is cleanliness, not only outer cleanliness, but also inner purity. Inner purity means mind purity, meaning I don't hold grudge against anybody. I don't remain angry against anybody. I don't think bad about anybody. I don't wish bad things to happen for anybody. This is purity of mind. And when you take your bath, wear clean clothes, live in a clean place, eat clean food, yes, this is called shaucha. Next is santosha. Contentment, choiceless acceptance of all that is happening in one's life is called santosha. Normally people think that I wanted something bad, I couldn't get it, okay, now I'll have santosh. That is not santosh. Santosh is that I am not hankering for anything, I am actually contented, hence I have no grudge and I don't complain. And I accept whatever I have. That is santosha. Most of the times, people, when they are unsuccessful in attaining what they wanted, then in that state of failure, they say, okay, we'll do santosha. That is not a real santosha means I am contented. And I accept whatever comes in my life. And I am satiated in my mind. This is santosha. Third niyama is tapaha. It refers to the austerity, to bear anything and everything that comes across on the spiritual path, and complete dedication to spiritual practices. Tapa. Let's say, waking up 4:30 in the morning is tapasya. Many people don't do it, right? Yeah, if they have to catch London flight, then they'll do. If they have to travel in a train, they'll wake up 3 o'clock, get dressed, cook their food, go to station. Train is at 8 o'clock. Yet some people have a habit of, बोले घर में भी बैठना वहीं बैठ जाएंगे. Miss नहीं होना चाहिए. Tapaha means when you choose to follow a discipline, and when it says to sacrifice your sleep, the last hours of your sleep, you do that. And you sleep in time. See, if you are sleeping 12 o'clock in the night, then waking up at 5 will become a punishment, right? But if you sleep at 10 p.m., then waking up at 5 a.m. will not be a punishment. Try this. If you can't try at home, come to me in my ashram. You will be put into bed by 9:30 because lights will be off, no entertainment, no TV. And then waking up at 4:30 would be so easy. Right? Getting up in the morning is tapasya. Eating less is tapasya. Forbearing insult is tapasya. Yes. If somebody insults you, you take it with the bowed head. You don't get agitated. Because a person will speak as the person's mind is. If the person's mind is bitter, the sweet jalebi words aren't going to come out of his mouth. Right? If the person has a bitter mind, his tongue will be bitter. So, have some sympathy on those who have bitter tongue. Poor people, they never got a chance to taste anything sweet. Hence, they are bitter. They need your sympathy. Send them some card, maybe a flower, maybe mithai ka dabba. Poor soul. Don't fight with them, those who are rude, arrogant, and proud. Possibly create a distance with them if you can't. Like somebody said, well, all problem is with my wife. How can I have a distance? I am living with her. I have children. I don't wish to divorce. And she is such a bitter person. I said, then maybe you can go to a chemist shop, buy a small pack of cotton, make 2 balls, put it in your ears, go home. Let her speak. Let her speak whatever she wants. You won't react then, because you can't even hear what she's saying. Next niyama, swadhyaya, involves self-learning and learning about one's self. That's the true meaning of swadhyaya. In other way, we can also say, when you read the books about yoga, about jnana, when you read these books, then this contemplation and reading is also called swadhyaya. And when you are finally able to understand who you are, and when you focus on your real self, that is the truest form of swadhyaya. 5th and the last is Ishwar Pranidhana. It is dissolving oneself and surrender completely to the will of the Almighty. Let me say this, the Ishwara word in Patanjali's 185 Sutra comes very sparsely. Over here it is coming. Ishwar Pranidhana means devotion to Lord. Don't be a me, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this. No. Ishwar Pranidhana. God will grace me. God will help me. God will give me strength to practice and learn. Don't be an egotistical person. Be humble. Always remember Lord. So the 5 yama, the 5 niyama, prepare you for the 3rd stage. Let's move on to the next slide. And the 3rd stage is of asana.